Hi everybody, long time no see. I am uploading this to YouTube for you guys so you can watch it at your leisure whenever you have time. Um, so this is about writing because you guys have a homework assignment coming up. So before we do the homework assignment, I'm going to give you guys some PowerPoint presentations and well, actually this is Google Slides so that you guys can kind of get started with your writing since this is your writing class, reading and writing. So the first presentation I have for you guys is called the writing process. So this is about getting started. So hold on. Okay, I will download this for you guys as a PDF so you guys can refer to it and I'll upload it to eClass so you guys don't have to watch this all over again. But anyways, so this is about deciding where to begin, how to get started with your writing. So the writing process is in several stages. First is pre-writing, which is planning your writing. So thinking about like what you want to write about. Second is writing. Well, actually, there's a stage in here, but writing is writing your first draft. Next, you would revise your writing, which is changing it. So after you've finished, you can kind of make some changes to it. Editing, which is checking your writing. So looking for grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, any sentences that are awkward. And last one is publishing. So just publishing means sharing your writing, like submitting it to your group members if you're doing a group project or submitting it to your teacher. So these are the steps and I will explain these in more detail for you guys. Okay, so pre-writing is planning and brainstorming. And I will show you guys some different ways that you can brainstorm, some handy things that you can do. I've got a handout for you guys. It's a PDF, so you guys can refer to that later after watching this. So it shows like the ways to get started, which are free writing. So that's just you have your notebook and you just start writing whatever's in your head. Second is listing, and I will explain these in more detail. So you can make a list of things, like things that you want to discuss in your writing. Clustering, so this is just brainstorming. You can make an idea map. So like, I'll show you guys an example in a minute, but you've got your topic and then you would have kind of offshoots from that showing things that you'd want to talk about with your topic, like examples, things like that. You can make a chart, like a T-chart for making comparisons or contrasts. You could also make a T-chart for like problems and solutions. Also, you can think about your readers' questions. So especially like WH questions, like who, what, when, where, why. Your reader might have some who, what, when, where, why questions. Okay, so I will explain these in more detail. So planning. So you could do a timeline. I'll show you guys an example of a timeline in just a minute, but here you have a flow chart. I'm sure that you guys have seen your professors or your teachers show like a flow chart. So for example, say you have this problem here, your lamp doesn't work. So the flow chart shows kind of steps that you would take. So you would check whether your lamp was plugged in. If it's not plugged in, you would plug it in. So continuing on, if your lamp was plugged in, you could ask yourself, was the bulb burned out? So yeah, so anyways, you guys can see how this flow chart works, right? Different steps you would take if your lamp doesn't work, for example. So here are the WH questions that you could ask yourself. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Okay. So just, yeah, so yeah, just, sorry, I'm a little bit unorganized. So you can keep these things in mind when you're writing, right? Questions that your reader might have. Also, when you're planning, you would have a discussion with your group members or partners if it's a group assignment. Yeah, that's part of planning. If we do project A in class, your group project, that's what project A is, kind of working together with your group members, coming up with ideas, planning your project. Okay, so here is an example of a timeline. So this is a lot of information here. You guys don't need to read all of this. This is just showing kind of, uh, this is kind of a flow chart, but instead it's using times. So anyways, this is the timeline for linking a case of listeria infection to an outbreak, which is kind of relevant to us right now because of COVID-19. But anyways, so you would show different points in the timeline, like first somebody's exposed to listeria, which is a bacteria. So that person's exposed, and then 1 to 3 weeks later, the person becomes sick. 1 to 2 days after that, they seek health care. So anyways, you guys don't need to read this whole timeline. This is just to show you guys how you can kind of like plan out a timeline, right? It shows times, days, things like that. Okay, next is organization. So you guys have already kind of done some of your planning, your brainstorming. Maybe you put together some kind of chart or something. Now you have to organize it. So when organizing your writing, you have to think of your main idea. So think about what you want to tell your reader or what you want to tell your teacher for this class. Second, think about what interests you about your topic. Third, you can ask yourself what is most important about this topic. Okay, so like for example, for the group projects, a lot of people do things that are related to their major. So for example, say you were going to explain your major to the class or to me, you would think about what you would want to tell me or tell the class about your major, what interests you about your major, and what's most important about, say, your major. Okay, so that's just an example, writing about your major. Okay, next you have to come up with a thesis statement, and I will explain this in more detail. But thesis statements are used in longer essays. So like you would use a thesis statement in your project. You wouldn't have it with just a paragraph because your upcoming assignment, you guys are just going to write a paragraph. But if you have an essay or a project, like in your first paragraph, you should have your thesis statement, and that's pretty much your main idea, like what you want to write about in your essay, and then every paragraph has to support your thesis statement or relate to it. And I will show you guys an example, of course. Okay, next with organization, you guys should make an outline. This will help organize your paper logically, and I will show you guys an example. Okay, so here somebody's going to do an essay and they have their title here, which is called No More Traffic Jams on I-64. That's Interstate 64, a highway in America. So specifically, they're talking about mass transit for some roads in their area. So here's the thesis statement. Instead of further road construction, which will only increase the amount of traffic in Southampton roads, the city of Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach should develop a modern mass transit system of light rail and park and ride express buses. Okay, so you guys don't need to understand all of this. Just they're basically trying to alleviate traffic, right? There's some traffic problems, some traffic jams in their area. So first they would discuss the traffic problems. Okay, so here you've got your problem, and next they're going to describe the solutions. Okay, so this would be like a problem and solution essay. And for projects, you guys could do something like this. You could talk about a problem and propose some solutions. But anyways, I'm showing this to you guys right now because it's an example of an outline. Okay, so so anyways, they have their one topic here and then two details. Then they have their second main point, which is the solution. And they have their first proposed solution, which is more highways and lanes. And then they have some examples, like they specify the different cities. And they talk about the Department of Transportation. Their second supporting point is light rail, a light rail system. And then they kind of have some what do you call it? Some more support for their light rail system. Okay, so anyways, I just wanted to show this to you guys as an example of an outline, kind of how you can break it down like very logically, right? Like main points and then supporting points and then some details. Okay. So that's to help you guys get organized. This is something that I do a lot, actually. Also for presentations, it's a good idea to put together an outline. Okay, this might be a little bit too specific for you guys, but okay, first, some software that you guys can use. I recommend this. This is free proofreading software. It checks your editing and spelling. It checks any kind of like mistakes with punctuation, like commas, periods, things like that. So this is free. I will explain this more. If not now, then next time when I upload another video for you guys. But anyways, it's free and it works with Chrome. This one down here, I think you guys can disregard this. This is if you have a lot of sources, you can put them all together in with this kind of reference software. But anyways, just disregard this. This is, I think you guys don't need this as freshmen. But this one right here is really good. Grammarly.com. Okay, so this is Grammarly. So for example, you've uploaded your writing. Your title here is Buying a Car. And after you uploaded it to Grammarly, Grammarly found some problems with it. Okay, so you can see down here, it says there's 20 critical issues. So it underlined problems with punctuation. So they think that a comma needs to be here, comma needs to be here. Okay, this is their suggestion. So if you accept their suggestion, like you can just click on it. Here's a problem with more kind of punctuation. You need an apostrophe there. It is. Over here, spelling should be every time, right? Here's your problem. You wrote every time, so Grammarly suggests that you change it to every time. Did. Where's did? Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, did is right here. Okay, so they suggest that you change it to had done. It's better grammar. Okay, so it's just really easy. All you do is kind of click on the suggestions and it fixes your paper and it's free. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if I have time for that now, but maybe next time I can show you guys this in more detail. But I think there might be a tutorial on YouTube that you guys can check out if you're interested in this. Anyways, if you guys do a lot of writing for your major, especially in English, I really recommend this. Oh, and it also works with Facebook because we're using Facebook in our class. So it works with Facebook and it works with email. So if you guys make any mistakes in your email, Grammarly will find them and suggest changes, right? Like spelling changes, things like that. So even I have this installed on my computer and it makes catching errors really, really easy. Okay, moving on. Okay, so back to kind of like planning your writing. sorry, this is a mind map. So like you would have your main idea here, and then you would put your main points in like these offshoot bubbles here, and then supporting details here. Okay, so this is another tool that you guys can use when organizing your writing or when just kind of like brainstorming. Okay, so let's see. We're not going to do a free writing exercise right now. We'll do one another time. Okay, so that was it for my Google Slides presentation. I will upload this to eClass for you guys as a PDF. I think it's easier to look at. Then you don't have to watch this all over again. I'm going to move on to another presentation for you guys, and I will upload this separately also as a PDF for you guys. Oh, okay. So I'm uploading this for you guys as a PDF. This is from the book, Skills for Success. I hope you guys have purchased the book because we need to start with it soon. Okay, so this is just about the writing process. So I already talked about this today, which is planning your writing, like brainstorming, free writing, making lists. Okay. So I just showed you guys a mind map in the last presentation. That was the last slide. So here's an example of a mind map or an idea map. So your topic is best way to improve my English. So some of the main ways are by studying, vocabulary, improving your vocabulary, and using English media. Okay, so these are the three main points. Okay, so first is studying, and then these are the supporting points. Okay, so they've got an example like use a study partner and go to class. Okay, so the second main point is improving vocabulary. So supporting that main point, they've got the examples of creating a personal word list or making some note cards. And then the third main point is use of English media. So they have three examples as their support for that main idea, which is listening to the radio, watching TV, and reading news online. Okay, so this is just an example of a mind map or an idea map that you guys can use when getting started. Okay, and I mentioned a T-chart before. Here they've got, like, you could make a list here of positives or negatives. Also, you could do this with like a problem over here and then solution. Also, you guys can create a Venn diagram. Okay, so here you would usually do this with a comparison or a contrast essay. So here they're comparing and contrasting the flu to a cold, which is also very relevant these days with COVID-19. So anyways, with the diagram, they've got how the flu is different from a cold. It lasts about 2 weeks. And a cold just lasts about 7 days. And then they've got their similarity here in the middle. Symptoms include coughing for both the flu and a cold. So anyways, if you guys don't understand everything I'm talking about, like no problem, just main points are what's important, right? I hope I'm not talking too fast for you guys. Okay, so just again, what I discussed in the Google Slides presentation is planning, right? First up here, this is organizing, brainstorming. Down here is planning. Yeah. So yeah, this is just stuff that I just discussed in the Google Slides presentation. So this is another example of how to do an outline. So you've got your topic sentence here, and then you've got your three, I'm sorry, you've got like a main point here, a main point here, and then here they put as C, they did a concluding idea. Okay, so there's different ways that you can make an outline. It's just you kind of make it so that you can kind of organize yourself really easily. Okay, so this one is for like an essay, okay, but yeah, anyways, you guys don't need to worry about something like this right now. That's just too much right now, right? Okay, so anyways, I will talk about the rest of it later. It's too much for you guys right now. So next time, like another time, we'll talk about actually writing. Just, I want to upload this for you guys now. So yeah, just check the first few pages of this PDF, okay? So this is from your book, Q Skills for Success. So I'll upload that for you guys too. Okay, moving on. Let's see. So we have another like 20 minutes to go or so. So how about we talk about how to write a paragraph? Okay, so you guys have a writing assignment coming up. Your first homework assignment, it's going to be worth 10 points. So this PowerPoint is just an overview for you guys, and then I will show you guys other PowerPoints about breaking down the parts of a paragraph. Okay, so this is just an overview, how to write a paragraph, guidelines for academic writing, because this is your academic writing class. Okay, so formatting an academic paragraph. What does formatting mean? It's the layout of the paragraph, like the organization. And I will explain that in further detail. So what does it do? It allows the reader, or the teacher in my case, to read each paragraph easily and to make notes. Like if I have to edit something, it just makes it a lot clearer. Okay, so how do I format an academic paragraph? You guys can follow these 4 steps. Okay, so first you should indent each paragraph. So if you guys are typing this, which everybody's going to be doing in this class because you're online. So you can just hit the tab key on your keyboard and that will indent your paragraph. I know that you guys don't do this in Korean writing, but in English, it should be indented. That way, everybody knows that a new paragraph is beginning. Okay, so that's why we indent. So yeah, there must be a space before the first sentence of each new paragraph. I will explain indenting more. You should write in a continuous line, so don't start a new sentence on a new line when you have space available. Okay, and again, I will show you guys an example in just a minute. You should write margin to margin. So on your computer, you can click Control plus J, and that will kind of even out your writing across the page. Also, your writing should be double spaced. Okay, so this is like 2.0 spacing. So you're going to write on the odd numbered lines. Okay, like you're going to write on line 1, 3, 5. Okay, so it's just easier to read that way. And also, like, especially if you were to write this in class, like in an offline class, your teacher would have more space to make corrections. Okay, so that's the reason for double spacing, just easier to read. And again, if you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, I will show you examples in just a second. Okay, so here is an academic paragraph. So you guys can see that the first line is indented. Okay, so that means that there's like 5 spaces before you start the first sentence. So you can just hit the tab key on your computer. Second, like you're writing a continuous line like all the way across the paper, right? So you're using up all of the space in your paper. It's just, it looks better. It's just easier to read. So yeah, again, you guys can hit Control plus J, and that will kind of space out your writing so that you're writing in a continuous line. And you guys can see it's double spaced. So like, for example, you see there's space in between these sentences. Like there's space here, there's space here, space here. So it's not like just writing on every line, it's writing on every other line. Okay, so line 1 has a sentence, line 3 has a sentence, line 5 has a sentence. Okay, but lines 2, 4, 6, there's nothing. There's just space. Okay, so I will show you guys in a minute on the computer how you can do that. So again, like this just makes it easier to read. And especially if you guys are doing this in like an in-class writing assignment where you guys are just writing on notebook paper, then your teacher can easily make some corrections. Okay. Oh, and yes. So you've written from margin to margin. Okay, the control plus J, like that means you've written all the way across your paper. So you've got like a little bit of a margin here and a little bit of a margin here. Yeah, I'll show you in a second on your computer how to do that. Okay, so this is a bad example. This is not writing in a continuous line, right? You can see they wrote on this, they wrote their sentence here. They started their next sentence here. Their next sentence is on the third line. It's not all like they have all this extra space here. It needs to be all the way across the paper. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, this is an example of a good sentence. Okay, so it's written all the way across the paper. So here they stopped their first sentence, then they started their next one, keep writing, third sentence, okay, like that. So you guys, this is one of the grading criteria. Like if you guys kind of write like all the way across the page, like you get a point for it. But if you guys write like this way, then you're gonna get a minus point. Okay, so one of the ways that you guys can make sure that you've written all the way across the paper is to hit Control plus J. Okay, so you guys can see that's like over here, right? If you guys are using Word, this shows like the text spacing. So you can see that this is kind of all the same. So that's what, yeah, that's how you can do it. Okay, just click this up here on Word. Okay, and then, hold on. Okay, so here, the first sentence is not indented, it needs to be indented. So the way that you can indent it is to hit your tab key on your keyboard. So then you'll have about 5 spaces here. So yeah, so then your paragraph is indented. Okay, so this is another thing that you guys are graded on, like each new paragraph has to be indented. And yeah, I think that's worth 1 point. Anyways, I will show you guys the grading breakdown later when you guys have your homework assignment. And how you can do double spacing, like 2.0 spacing, is you can kind of come up here. Oh, sorry, over here. And if you click on this little icon, like this upside down triangle, it'll show you spacing options. Okay, so you're going to click 2.0. That's double spacing, right? Double means 2. Oops. Uh-oh. Okay, it looks like my meeting is going to end in a minute. So I'm going to finish up in just a minute. Oh, I think that might be it. Okay. All right, so you guys, I have to finish this up. Oh geez. Okay, I wanted to show you guys another PowerPoint, but I will do that separately. Okay, so next time I'm going to do topic sentences. So the last one that I showed you guys was just an overview. Now I'm going to get like more specific in the different parts of a paragraph. Okay, so anyways, you guys can check eClass. I will upload all of this to eClass for you guys as a PDF, so you can kind of refer to it a little bit more easily. So there's no homework. All you guys had to do was watch it. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will upload another class for you guys later in the week. Okay? You guys have a good day.